So in this month's cabinet, we've been looking at a number of things. Perhaps the most critical for the council as we move forward is about the integrated care system. That sounds like a bit of a complex issue. When you look into it further, it's got more three-letter descriptions than any other body I've seen. However, it is really important for the way that we as a council are going to be working with the NHS and with other partners in healthcare moving forward. It's going to be critical to the way that we address issues around social care, around making sure that we have proper paths for release of people from hospital, but into suitable accommodation or with suitable support when they come out. There's been an awful lot of work going on between partners, and so far I think it's been really productive. I want to say a huge thank you both to Wiltshire officers, but also officers from the NHS, Clinical Commissioning Group, the various bodies involved for the very open approach they've taken. And today we've agreed to create a memorandum of understanding to help formalise the way that work is going to be proceeding inside Wiltshire moving forward. It means working with the NHS, the council, the voluntary sector, and all the different aspects of the NHS, so hospitals, GPs, mental health, and a whole range of services. Very complex, but really critical for our future. We've had confirmation from government of a successful bid for funding from the Department for Education around innovation in services for families and children. We've been the lead authority for the southwest of England, which means all the money is coming through us. So formally, as a cabinet, we've had to agree to accept the funding from government, which is just over 1.5 million. But it's a really good example, both of us sort of helping lead the way in the southwest, but also of the different bits of work, the different ideas, the different programs that have been put forward by different councils to use money innovatively, but in a way that addresses our local needs and not just in a sort of one-size-fits-all approach. We've been looking at a report on the performance of our adoption services and Adoptions West, with who we use to provide those services. This is something that we get to Cabinet every year, and it gives us a snapshot of how we are performing, both in terms of the number of families coming forward who are looking to adopt, the number of children who are being placed, and the progress and the work that's being done. I'm very happy to report that looking at the data over the last 3 years, we've had some really successful years in terms of making sure that a lot of children are being adopted, that we're getting them into permanent homes, and the process is working really well. We've agreed to renew the current system and make sure that continues into the future. As you'd expect, COVID has caused a bit of a blip, but certainly less than I had feared. And I think it's a really encouraging example of the work that we're doing as a region and as a council to make sure that our young people who are in a position that need adoption are getting every opportunity to be adopted. We've agreed to release another 2.8 million funding towards the upgrading of Melksham House. That goes towards the 2 million that has already been assigned to refurbish it. I'm dealing with the planning issues coming out of the development of the Melksham campus, which is nearing completion now. But as part of that, there was a planning condition that Melksham House had to be brought up to a suitable standard and then made available for community use. So the work that we have agreed will be providing flexible co-working accommodation, as well as multi-purpose space, both for community and other people that want to use it. We've also agreed to set up what we're calling the Melksham Place Board. This sits alongside the Salisbury, Chippenham and Trowbridge Place Boards, the aim of which is to bring together relevant partners, Wiltshire Council, the Town Council, and then other relevant partners into a body that can then look strategically at the assets that we collectively have and what can be done to maximise their benefit, to maximise revenue from them where relevant, but also to make sure that we are meeting the needs of those towns in the most appropriate way. So that's been agreed to be set up, and it will be being chaired by Michelle Donnellan as the MP. All of our place boards are chaired by an MP, and I look forward to the first meeting of that in the near future. Omicron COVID wasn't an issue that we discussed today. However, I want to reiterate the very strong government message that if you're eligible now for a booster, please book yourself a booster, go out and get it done. I've had mine, slightly numb arm, but nothing worse. I know that the system is under strain, that there are an awful lot of people trying to book, but please bear with it. You will find a slot eventually. It took me a while to get mine, but I kept trying, and eventually it was easy enough to sort. If you haven't had the vaccines yet, I would urge you to do so. They are a way of making sure that we all have the best possible immunological defense against COVID, and it's the best way that we can all be getting back to living our lives as normal as possible, as soon as possible. As a council, we're clearly adapting to some rapidly moving situations. We'll be providing all the support that we can to the NHS, but we need to make sure that, again, we are doing everything we can to help provide venues and support to make sure that the vaccination programme continues at pace. And then finally, on a more positive note, I wanted to wish you all a very happy and healthy Christmas. I hope 2022 is the year that we finally start putting COVID in the rearview mirror and get back to living our lives as normal. Happy Christmas.